Hi. I, like millions of other people around the world, have tested positive for coronavirus. This video is really not for the internet, it's really just for me, because I know that one day I'll forget how I currently feel, and I don't really want to forget this. I also know that maybe one day my kids will ask about my experience with coronavirus, and I can refer them to this video and ask them to like and subscribe. But I also understand that I'm in a very privileged position. I had access to healthcare workers. I only experienced mild symptoms and didn't need to be hospitalized. I was able to comfortably isolate from the rest of my family, and I have medical aid, so my test was already paid for. So I recognize that. I'm just going to share my experiences, and here we go. My family decided that we were going to spend the first part of December in Plet, and I would then spend the second half of December, and I would spend Christmas and New Year in East London with Keegan's family. At the beginning of December, Keegan and the rest of my family all went to Plet for the beginning part of our holiday. On the 17th of December, I showed my first symptom of the coronavirus. I woke up with a really sore throat, a postnasal drip, blocked ears, inflamed tonsils, and I think I was producing yellow phlegm when I coughed. I immediately thought that I had a cold or that I had tonsillitis. I didn't for 1 second think that it was coronavirus, purely because my grandparents were in Plet with us at the time and we were being quite cautious to make sure that they didn't get it. I maybe had gone to the beach 3 or 4 times, but I was distant from other people. I had gone to maybe 2 restaurants and I hadn't really been shopping. For the first 2 days, I kind of just kept thinking that I had a cold or that I had tonsillitis and didn't really think much of it, although I did start distancing myself from my grandparents a little bit in the house just to be on the safe side. In the evening of the 18th of December, I decided to contact a doctor online and ask if he could prescribe me antibiotics because I was still sure that I had tonsillitis. I consulted with the doctor and he agreed. He also thought I had tonsillitis, and I asked him if he thought I should get a COVID test, and he said he didn't think that it would be necessary, but we would monitor my symptoms, and if they didn't improve after the antibiotics, then he would refer me for a COVID test. And then on the 20th of December, my entire family was going to start traveling back to Joburg, and it was going to take us 2 days. I started taking my antibiotics on the 20th and we started traveling back to Johannesburg. I chose to wear my mask during the entire journey, and I am so grateful that I made that decision. We stopped overnight, and again I tried to social distance and I wore my mask around people. The next day we traveled back the whole way to Johannesburg. On the 20th of December, my mom and I agreed that I should maybe get a coronavirus test just to ease people's minds and to know for sure that I didn't have it before I went away with Keegan's family. That afternoon I went for a COVID test. I was starting to feel slightly better. I really was. I had a slight headache, but my flu-like symptoms or my cold symptoms were disappearing, and I really did think that the antibiotics were working. And then on the 21st of December was when Keegan and his family and I were going away to East London. So I still hadn't received my COVID results yet, but his family said they were happy for me to still drive with them and they were sure I just had tonsillitis. I arrived at their house and we got on the road. We all started driving to East London. And it was about 3 or 4 hours into the journey that I got a call from my doctor. And I knew as soon as he called me that this was not good. And he said that my results were positive and that I needed to start isolating as soon as possible. And I felt an overwhelming sense of guilt and fear. I felt incredibly guilty that I had exposed so many people to the virus, including my grandparents and my entire family, and now Keegan's entire family. And I was so scared that I had given it to someone who was going to suffer. So I kind of started crying. I kind of cried a little bit like a baby. Keegan's family then all started wearing masks. Thank goodness I had been wearing my mask for most of the journey before I had received the call from the doctor, and we tried to ventilate the car a little bit more, and we turned around and met my mom halfway so she could fetch me and take me back to Joburg so I could start isolating. Keegan decided to come with me and my mom because he had been exposed to me for 5 days, and so he decided he would stay at my house and isolate for a while and then get a coronavirus test and still wait to see if he showed any symptoms, and then he would fly down to East London if he was still okay. My mom fetched us somewhere near Kroonstad. Keegan's family drove on to East London. Then I started isolating and my family went for a coronavirus test the next day. Isolation is hard. It was mentally challenging for me because everyone has to run away from you. No one can touch you, no one can be anywhere near you, and you don't want them near you because you don't want to make them sick. You really just want a hug, but you can't have a hug. My cold symptoms started disappearing the more I took my antibiotic, and then I started getting a headache. I started feeling dizzy. I had some nausea as well. I was also starting to feel quite fatigued and quite tired. I had lost my sense of smell. The taste of my food started getting a little bit bland, but I never lost it. I've never lost my sense of taste. Every day I would wake up and ask every member of my family how they were feeling, how everyone was doing, because I was terrified that I had given it to my grandparents and terrified that I had given it to people who had been in contact with my grandparents. That Thursday, so I think we're on like the 24th of December, the rest of my family's COVID results came back. Everyone came back negative except for my sister. And she had driven in the car with my grandparents for a total of 12 hours the days before. But we continued to isolate and we continued to just do what we were doing. Christmas was a pretty difficult day. I was really sad because I knew I was meant to be in East London with Keegan's family, celebrating with them. And instead we were both here, isolating, not even able to hug each other and say Merry Christmas. Hi, it's me on a different day. I also just wanted to say that my mom did a really good job at making Christmas special. She made everyone a really nice Christmas lunch and we were able to have it around the pool, even though we were super social distanced and spread apart. It was still really nice, so thanks to her. It's now the 30th of December. I'm meant to come out of isolation tomorrow. I might wait it out a little bit just to make sure that I'm safe. I am eternally grateful that nobody else in my family has been sick. I would not recommend getting the coronavirus to anyone. Even though my symptoms were mild, I felt pretty terrible most days and extremely frustrated that I was so tired and couldn't do much. This has not been my best December, but I also know that there are so many people that are testing positive every single day. I think I have shown symptoms for a lot longer than most people. Most people feel better after about 8 days, and I am on day 13 and I couldn't dream of running or being able to do some exercise yet. I'm hoping within a couple of days' time I'll be feeling much better. That's pretty much my experience. If I could say anything to anyone else, it would be this pandemic is not over. Please be careful, be respectful towards others, and be respectful towards your family members. Me again. It was also really special when people reached out to me or sent me a message to find out how me and my family was doing, and I know my one friend even came and brought me donuts the one day, which was super cool. But if you know someone who has the coronavirus or who is isolating, then I would highly recommend sending them a message. It really does make a world of difference. But that's pretty much it. I know it's a long-winded story, probably one that you're not very interested in. Stay safe, wear a mask, use some hand sanitizer, do that kind of stuff. I hope everyone has had a great December. Here's hoping for a better December next year. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.